Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. How are you all? One thing before we start, guys, I want this session to be an interactive. I don't want, just to be from one side. So if you all can unmute and can participate, you know, let's make an interactive session. Okay? Or maybe just a thumbs up.
Maybe reactions.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's use some AI. All right. So let me know if you all can see my screen.
Yes, Fish, it's visible.
Yes, yes.
All right. So thank you everyone for your time and I appreciate. So okay, my today topic, which I wanted to discuss, was on AI prospect in cybersecurity. But before we go, let me quickly also, a little bit share about myself. So my name is Piyush Kohli. I'm based out of Singapore. So I currently work with Palo Alto Networks as a cybersecurity architect. So besides my work, I love traveling, I love mentoring, and I'm a big time foodie. And it's been almost now more than 13 years, roughly around 30 years, I've been into cybersecurity space. Started my career back in India, then it's been now getting a decade here in Singapore. All right, so I will be your host for today. Okay, any questions before we kickstart on the topic of today? Okay, silence I take as none. So before we proceed, so just a disclaimer, the views and opinion, which we'll be discussing in this presentation are my own and does not reflect my, organization or my position within the organization. Okay. All right. Now the AI in cybersecurity. Now, before we jump into, the role, the aspects or prospects of AI in cybersecurity, the first come is, the basic, what is really an AI? Is anyone want to, just share from his or her experience? What do you understand about AI? In a nutshell, in a short form.
Maybe it's not a small thing, so we can explain it briefly, but just like how humans have
Hmm.
intelligence, even the
Hmm.
system should have the ability to think on its own to make its
Absolutely.
decisions.
Mhm.
That's the main core and
Perfectly
crux, I guess. That's it.
correct. You perfectly nailed that. So the AI actually refers the term artificial intelligence and refer to term like development of computer system, which can have, perform the task similarly what human thinks that require that typically require human intelligence. So in other words, it actually involves, simulation of human intelligence in machines, which can think, learn, and adapt autonomously. So now within AI, there are core technologies. Some of the core technology which you can see on your screen are like machine learning, natural NLP, natural language program, neural network, deep neural, and large LLM. So AI has been always been there. It's like, in nowadays we are hearing more about AI, the AI in cybersecurity because of the feedback, the which how the AI has got enhanced. All right. So now quickly deep diving on one by one on the technologies, on the machine learning. Can okay, as I shared, I want this session to be an interactive one. So I would really appreciate if everyone can participate so that we can when you go back, at least you can take something from our today's discussion or from our today's session. Okay. So on the machine learning, so machine learning we have heard even back when when I was in my engineering days, it has been there since even maybe goes back to 1970s and 1980s. What do you guys understand about machine learning, or what do you know? What is machine learning in a nutshell? Other than the chapter leads, please, team participate. It's okay. You may be wrong. It's okay. We are not. No one is judging here. It's just together. I will be sharing more aspect from the industry space, and then maybe you can share from what you understand from wherever you are in, whether you are in college or university or whether you are also in the professionals. Let's brainstorm together. Now, all right. So let me help you quickly with the machine learning. So what basically machine learning does, or what is it? Basically, it's a system which learn basically from data and improve their performance. So an example of machine learning would be, have you guys okay, now this is something I believe everybody does it. You guys watch Netflix, right? Or let's say Amazon Prime in India. Of course, I do also watch it. Yes, no, maybe.
Yes, 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 yes,
So but at the end of the movie, it asks you, right? There are three questions, like whether you like this content, dislike. What do you understand from that? Have you ever actually selected back after viewing, let's say any documentary or movie? Have you given any input back to the system, to the Netflix, or let's say to the Prime, the recommendations? Have you done that? So if you see, okay, I'm not sure why everyone is shy, but if you see that, I'm sure you might have done it. But over the course of time, you would have seen now the next time the Netflix would show you those similar content. So this is exactly the example of machine learning. So it's not like an immediate. So let's say you watch some movie and you like the content, based on the recommendation, the Netflix will. But over the course of time, you will see the recommendation which Netflix will give you is because Netflix is learning from your feedback, what you're giving back to that particular system. So the behind is the algo. It's a machine learning which is running, which is learning your profile, learning your behavior, and will give you those recommendation. That's an example of machine learning. So the natural language processing, if I share what is natural language processing in a way, you might have interact with your Siri if you're an iPhone user, or if you're an Android user, you might have interact with your the Android, like something like Siri which you have on your Android phones. So now whenever you ask questions, so you see that the answer or feedback come back from the Siri. What is this? It's actually natural language processing. Then AI is trying to listen to you, gather your queries and giving you back the response more in the human format, in the human format. It's exactly an example of natural language processing. So these are some of the technologies which AI uses it, underlying in its structure. Then comes the neutral, I would say the neutral network, or the neutral network. Now, what is neutral network? Let me place this by an example. So I'm sure in this group, whosoever is connected, you might have worked in a project, let's say in a team, right? Have you ever guys, any one of you have worked in a team or in a project, or let's say where each one had the specific role to deliver in a project or in a team?
yes.
Yeah, we were.
Thanks, Sunil. And yeah, I want to, let's make it interactive, guys. I don't want it to be like a college, or like a university sort of lecture. Let's make it an interactive one. So now when you do this, so in a task, you go and ask feedback from each and every individual, because every individual has, their own task and has, ha- their contribution to the entire project, right? So similarly, the network program, it works in the same way. It's like combining, a small bits of info across, the multiple, and then present you that particular the info as a final. That's what the neural word basically comes from our brain. Okay. Then comes the deep neural technology. If I talk about the deep neural network and technology, it's just like the regular neural network which I just shared. So let's say now the in the deep neural, it's like it's about creating the stacks of layer. So for example, you want to have a view of, let's say, when you go to a summit, or let's say when you go for a trekking, okay, and you want to have a good view, so you go different level. For example, if you take the Mount Everest summit as well, so there is a base camp one, Basecamp 2, Basecamp 3. So these are, if you put in a cyber world or in a technology world, it's take them as a layer. So different layer will give you the different, the perspective, or it will refine your results. That's what basically the deep neural, the more the layers, the more the visibility or enhancement of that particular info would be. Okay. And the last in the entire AI, it basically comes is a large LLM, the large language model. So to give you the example of large language model is, okay, before I give you an example, let me ask you a question. The question would be basically to showcase, how powerful is LLM nowadays in the cyber world. So before LLM, what was the technique? If you guys, let's say, if I ask you whether you're in college or a professional, for example, to detect phishing email, what were the most common techniques which you were using to detect phishing emails?
Maybe based on the sender or based on the terminology present in the mails, which could be repetitive,
Mhm.
certain type of
And
terminology used. Earlier, there used to be, some kind of like we have the naive based method, which has been used to identify if it's a spam email or not.
correct. So, but the initial, if you go back, few years back down the line, the learning which was given to each and every in the organization as well as in the university was like, look for grammatical errors. Am I correct? That's the phishing email will have some like syntax difference. They will have some grammatical error. But now today in today's time, if you have seen that, the phishing email have also gone to next level. It's very hard. Even the URL is exactly look the same. It just maybe the character, maybe the formatting of A in the URL is different. For example, if I put example xyz.com, xyz.com, let's say happen to be a website of OWASP, let's say YJAC. But in the same XYZ, if they change the Y character in a different format, it can be attacker, a domain as well. But looking at having a look and feel, it will be the same. It won't be, actually the difference. Okay, give me one check. Sorry, what do you mean by cyclone on that? RN dash dash M?
So he just maybe he's giving an example. RN and M looks in the same way, but they are different. So just an example
Yeah.
for the phishing, I guess. Yeah, thanks, Sai.
Yep.
That's a good example.
So that's how the LLM has gone. So I'm sure now to give another example of because even I'm here based in Singapore, I do have Zomato app. Zomato, it's an the application are using AI to the different level, and I'm sure you might have also seen that. Like even if you're in a group when you're talking about like say food, immediately a notification will pop up. A chatbot will send, feeling hungry. Why don't you order something? It's that's how the intelligence, the applications or the space is happening with the use of this AI and LLMs. The chatbots, when you interact with the chatbot, example in the banking, for or either banking industry, the chatbot you're using, you won't feel like it's even nowadays on the call, right? You won't differentiate whether it's basically is it a bot or is it really a human person sitting there. But it may be a bot. Then after you after a while you will feel like, oh, it's going in a continuous loop, because that's at the end of the humans will always come with their intelligence and will try to deface this, whether whatever the LLM and all models is. That's also some which we'll talk in forthcoming slides about what are the risks with the AI in the cybersecurity. So that's about LLM, and these are the core technologies which are being used in the artificial intelligence. Any questions or any clarification before we move next? And the power of, let's say, if no questions, now let me ask you: can you guys read 1,000 books? Imagine if you can if you can just read thousand of books in a matter of seconds. That's what basically LLM does. So it has all the data. You just give them, it will visualize, it will analyze, and will give you the brief summary, and it will give you the edge of what would basically the content or data contains. That's how the LLM is helping. Okay. Now its usage in cybersecurity. do we have anything like small language models? Guys, it would be great if you can just, unmute and talk because the chat, let me see that. Do we have anything like small language? The small language model, yeah. So again, there are some out of the box or the language model which are available. But let's say if you want to create your own, then you will have to have an understanding of the models and in the architecture of how you will use it. Some of the example of the small language model like ChatGPT, we are doing it. Gemini. These are all available. The language model, or I would say the generative AI, which can help you, to achieve. I'm not sure how you guys are using it as a way, but if you ask me in the industry space, I know there is a buzz or there is a fear as well with the AI, whether AI will lose, with AI, there will be, again a fear, there will be lose of jobs. On that one, I have a different perspective. So if you just wait along with me until the end, I will share you because this was the quote which was being discussed, at the World Economic Forum level, and one of the reputed CEO had given, an apt apt reality. The fear should not be of AI, the fear should be of something else, which I will share as we proceed. Okay. Now, how can AI enhance security? Questions comes. The first one is enhanced threat detection. Okay, in the cybersecurity in the cybersecurity space. Now, what do you mean by enhanced threat detection? Because in AI, you already have can identify all the threats. You have the all data. You have all the data, you have all the context. Now it will baseline those info and it will enrich those particular info and will give you the most advanced basically detection capabilities, which human can do, but it will take it will take a lot of effort to to create those detection and capabilities. But with the help of AI, it's a breeze. Okay. Again, the models will be defined by human because you will be giving them models, you will be giving them context data, but AI will be doing at a much faster pace. That's how we can enhance the threat detection. Now, proactive security measure. So now, how does AI help in proactive security measure? So instead of just let's say waiting for something bad to happen, what AI does it artificial intelligence because it has its own permutation and because the model has learned all based on the data which you have fed it to the model. It will it will create the capability in such a way if something is going to be, let's say, something is which it sees like okay, it's like some sort of, let's say, malicious activity going to happen. So the AI, the artificial intelligence, can do the proactive, and can basically stop and take action. So, for example, it's like if I put in a human term, in a real life, how does proactive security measure, posture happens is, let's say you do your monthly health check or let's say annual health check. So you are doing a proactive. So by doing annual health check of yours, you are if there is anything going, something wrong within our machinery of a human, you will be getting notified so that you don't wait until something that risks, let's say, vulnerability to be exploited. So because you have done the annual health check, so you will be aware of, okay, what is going wrong, where it's going wrong, and then you can proactively take, measures on that. All right. So that's how the AI take care of the proactive. Then comes, the automation of repetitive tasks. Okay. The example of automation, if I put how the AI help is, I'm sure you might have seen some of the, okay, how it would be, let's say, whatever the daily course you are doing. For example, if I put, again, I will make it more realistic by putting an example in a day-to-day world. For example, the household chores we do. For example, even laundry or let's say mopping the floor. Now you have seen there are robots, AI robots. The small robot will actually mop the floor. So this is like automation of repetitive tasks. So what AI does, because based on the SOAR, we call it the SOAR, or the security orchestration. So the AI will, based on what you are doing, what are the tasks you've been doing, the AI will learn and will streamline and will boost the efficiency, so that now the time you are spending to take any action AI will do the job for you. For example, enrichment. That could be an enrichment of data, enrichment of IOCs or intelligence. So when I was like back in the SOC, when I was in the SOC days, how we used to do our day-to-day investigation in the SOC world. Let's say an incident come from different devices, we'll go and verify through various threat intel sources whether this particular domain is malicious. Now, what AI is doing because of those integration, before that incident comes to you, you have every data in front of you. Okay. So now it's a call whether you want to rely on totally AI to take, automation or let's say remediation step by AI itself, or whether you want to put an human element in there. Because eventually for the initial start, it's good to have a human factor being involved so that you are aware what AI is taking in action is correct, is aligned with what you would have want, AI to take action. Okay. So that's about the automation of repetitive tasks, how the AI can enhance, and it will definitely will increase your efficiency. Then come improve incident response. Now, how the improved incident response? So as I mentioned, again, it's a series linked together from back to back. All right. So we talked about how the AI help you to automate the task. Now, let's say incident happen because the AI knows that context, AI knows the data, so it will accelerate your threat mitigation. It will have your real-time analysis. So instead of, before, let's say we would have been, gathering those details and verifying whether it's a true positive or let's say it's a false positive, AI does the job for you, right? All the intelligence piece and coming, correlating and, again, one of the key aspect which you've seen in a security or which you're using security, the AI gives it the behavior analysis, right? Hey, this was something unique we found. And because of those behavior or those, you can say, the learning or those analytics which AI is bringing, it's giving an edge. So now, because AI didn't see that behavior in your entire organization, or let's say in your entire network, this was something new. For example, let me put an example how improve incident response. Maybe a user. This user is an end user. In the last, let's say, 20 days, he never created any user account because he's just an end user. He's not an admin. And he's not supposed to create any, let's say, to create any user account on his on her endpoint. But suddenly one day, that user created an account, which because in the industry we call it we need to have a least privilege, those security terms, and it's segregation of duty because that user is not supposed to create any user. That's the task of an admin. So now what, as a human being, what you would have done, we would have first verified who is that particular user. But now how AI do intelligently, because AI has seen its trend, has seen its behavior in the past. This user was just a normal user, but something unique, something happened. So now AI, based on those analysis, both based on that trend, can immediately take an action, like like can isolate that particular endpoint, can basically block, or let's say whichever user account was created, can terminate or can can lock that particular user account. That's how it will improve your incident response. The AI is actually exactly is doing as of today. Yeah. Yeah, Rupa has mentioned playbook. That's playbook is the same thing. If you see at the small scale, it's a all human task which we would have done, So the using the help of playbooks, you're automating your efforts so that you are not, doing same thing manually again and again. And again, when we start, it's like no engine is efficient from the day one. It's like the more the data this engine, the analytics will get, the data will, this engine will get efficient. As I gave you example when we start up with the Netflix, when you liked one content, not necessarily the second time you will get the good recommendation. The engine is getting tuned because engine is learning your behavior. Okay. That's how the improved. Now come the adaptive security measures. So in adaptive security, let me see if I could put an example on for adaptive security measure. Uh, let me think. A good example would be: does any one of you in this group uses the fitness app, or let's say an online course? Yeah. Is anyone here use some like fitness app or online course?
I think most of the people who might have heard about Cult app, the Cult Fit, which people do use it on
Mhm.
daily purpose.
Yeah. So now
Yeah,
imagine in the same way. Yeah. Yeah. Please.
Yes, I have heard about the app, but never used one. Hmm?
Now, if you have if you have not used it, let's say if you heard it, okay, let me put in another way. So let's say there is a fitness app. Okay. Now, based on your day to day, whatever fitness you are doing, this app will change your threshold or will change your goals or milestone because app is continuously, is monitoring you, how much steps you have done. For example, even in the iPhone, we have something called these goals and all, right, which tracks how many steps you walked in a last week. So if you are looking, so my point of sharing this particular app or this example is imagine how the in the cybersecurity, if the system exactly does the same, but it's like constantly learning your environment, adopting to the new threats. It will, don't you think it will give you a peace of mind because the system is learning and it's actually raising the bar higher and higher, as the system grows. Don't you think it will be a peace of mind from the, let's say, wherever, if you are at the home or if you're part of, let's say, any security operations or SOC team? Yeah. So that's how the AI is really helpful in the adaptive security measure. Now, come the scalability. The scalability is everyone knows now. How does AI? So I don't even have to give example for this. Example, let's say you might have seen that everyone uses Gmail. Let's say if you're using the free email, as soon as it reaches some the low watermark of your space, you see that you basically gets a pop-up. Hey, do you want to extend? Do you want to buy an extended storage, or you want to increase the storage? So these all are, the capabilities. The AI is basically, these are all scalable. By scalable means it, the more you data give them, it will increase its threshold, and it will be scale, it will give you more refined detection capabilities. Okay. Now, coming on the cost efficiency part. So, okay, now imagine hiring a full time security team, which could be an expensive, having a full team, a cybersecurity experts and working just, let's say, and trust me, this is already happening, and this will happen more in the future. For example, in the SOC, we have this like tier one who is to initially see whether, should we engage tier two or tier three engineers, or most, the advanced engineers to work on those cases on our, how this AI is helping the cost efficiency. The tier one job the AI is taking, definitely. I'm not saying it will remove all tier one, but it will reduce. For example, if in the tier one in a team there used to happen of, let's say, 20 individuals. Now there might be a need of only, let's say, one individual in one individual shift, or let's say one in each shift, maybe like at the end in a day, like four people in a team as a tier one, because most of the job this AI or artificial intelligence is doing for you. And the 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 best part of that is it's not only helping the organization, it's helping the business as well, because of the cost efficiency. Now, instead of having 20 people doing the same thing, AI is already, what it could tune, because as I mentioned, it's learning the behavior. If there would have been a similar activity which have been closed in past, so what AI will do, AI will like self resolve, self resolve that particular incident. Or if I talk in terms of incidents in the SOC, let's say you are receiving an incident. Now, how it will help you, it will help you in terms of tuning as well, right? Because that incidents are, it's saving your, it's not only about the cost, it's also about the hours which, let's say, the analyst or the engineer was spending those times to, to triage, to investigate, to resolve those incidents and alerts. Now AI is doing that for you, because AI will only show you which is really requires, an action from an engineer perspective. But the one which are already duplicate, has been already resolved in past, has had a similar behavior, the AI will take care of those. Okay. So that's, I would say, the key components of AI in the cyber security, which is doing. Any question on this before we move on the risk part? Okay. No silence, I take none. So in this particular deck, Can anyone tell me what's wrong? There is something wrong in this deck. Can anyone point me out? Can anyone help me? What's wrong?
Something related to risk, I could see. Yes.
Mhm. Thanks, Santosh. Okay, I give another thanks anyway for at least unmuting and sharing that. Let me give you a hint. Look somewhere in that image. Do you see something wrong there?
So AI is placed in Superman here instead of
Okay. All right. I'm
there
loving
is a
this.
human there, but
Mhm.
at human the AI is there, but AI should be there at villain end, right? There is a bot.
Okay. What
Um,
again?
there,
Yeah.
there is chances that anyone can start. Anyone can hack it using other AI softwares, maybe.
Okay. I think we all are going, deep technical, decoding the images and all. Guys, it's straight there in front of the screen. See what's wrong in the content, in the image itself, huh? Do you see anything wrong there? Oh, somebody sent a chat. Spider and Superman. Super. Okay. Okay, the wrong is the spelling. See, we techies sometimes, get too so JK. Sorry, what JK means Rupa? No, I said
Just kidding.
spelling, right?
Just kidding. Just kidding.
Ah, just kidding. Okay. Okay. Sorry. Okay. Now, anyone has picked up what's wrong in that? The by spelling,
There
what
is
I'm referring to?
relying,
Cybersecurity.
relying spelling.
Cybersecurity.
Correct. So
Uh,
again, now I wanted to keep this bomb. Okay, I will keep this. I will keep it for the end to share you about this entire presentation. So correct, Sunil, you're right. So what I meant was basically this image was actually generated by AI itself. It was not done by me. I didn't, took it from some website or down from a site. It was generated by AI. So the key risk with the AI is, the discrimination, the bias and discrimination in decision making. What I mean by bias and discrimination decision making is if what kind of data you give, the AI will take, the intelligence will make decision based on that. Just take an example. For example, you just give them, okay, no offense, don't take me wrong, just give an example to paint the picture here. Let's say you give an AI a resume of 100 boys or 100 men, or let's say 100 women or 100 girls, right? And then after 100 resumes of female, you give a one resume of male. What do you think the AI, more decision making would be? It will be biased because the data you have given. So that's one of the biggest risks with the AI. What kind of data you are giving in? So even let's say if you are using some of those AI available tools, you may see that when you probe the AI, questions and question and again, you will see, the answers will change. Okay. So that's number one risk with the AI. The second risk basically is the lack of explainability and transparency. So AI will give you the decision, but what's the source of giving that, because it's like a black box. So and we from if I tell you from the industry world, yes, we have also seen that sometimes when we use AI, when we use artificial intelligence, let's say it will flag as a malware. But why it flagged as a malware, we can't question, we can't challenge. But we knew that something was wrong, something deviated from the profile. But why AI was detecting? Even if let's say we do reverse engineering that particular piece, okay, and let's say we come to a conclusion, oh, it's nothing malware in that. But then why AI? Because maybe the kind of data that particular model was given based on that the AI. So that's the second risk with the artificial intelligence in the cybersecurity. And the most important is, which everyone knows, is potential for misuse or abuse. right? Yes, it's a boon, but it's a bane. So it's not only it will help the cyber security guys, it will also help the cyber criminals. And I will talk about why it's you know I'm not sure. I'm sure everyone would have seen. I have already started seeing. So the example which I gave earlier was about the phishing. Have you guys ever experienced any phishing email which was like too close that it was very hard to even distinguish whether it was a phishing or whether it was a real email? Does anyone want to share experience on that?
Yes, definitely, Piyush. I mean, we experience when our organization will conduct this kind of drills, right? Yeah, we have experience,
Mm-hmm.
and because of that, we we have to take some additional courses. I mean,
True. Thanks, Sai, for sharing that. Let me give you my personal experience. In spite of being in, okay, again, don't take me wrong. And this is happening. Even the best of the best sometimes get lured into that because of so advanced and technical, and the tactics and techniques have gone. So once, basically, me along with my spouse, we went for cycling here. I'm sharing this some example of personal. And it was like a shared cycle. I guess now in India also we have, like, you just book through, and the cycle will be somewhere on the road. You will unlock through an app, then you drive the cycle, and you have to drop. And when you drop it, you can. So when we dropped, basically, and it was bad on our part because it was not a designated parking spot. We left because there were many other cycles from the similar company or brand was standing there. We left and we came back home. So while we were parking there, we got the message from the app that you are parking in the wrong, you will be getting penalized. Okay, let's say the penalized is $5 or X amount. It's okay because we were in the rush to come back home. And there were many other cycles, we left it. The game start after that. So when we came back home, immediately after a few days, there was a message. Okay, and the message from the same vendor. Okay, luring that exactly the same website. Hey, you did something. For example, what do you call that? In India, we get that slip or challan sort of thing. So something of the same thing. You last time you use this cycle, you parked wrong way. You have to pay this, otherwise it will be some offense amount. And it was like the amount was basically, for example, very, very nominal, X dollar amount, less than even $10. So as a human, because when you're on the mobile phone, said, okay, just $5 or let's say $10, let me quickly get rid of it because I don't want to be, get into those. And then immediately when I clicked it, it was so legitimate, everything, even the URL, the interface of website. And then it was like when I hit next, then immediately the mind of the soft guy trick. I said, okay, let's wait because I was on the road. Let me go back home, and then let me uh, do it from my own laptop instead of doing from the mobile phone. And when I came back home, when I did basically the reverse engineer thing, I found it was a sort of scam going on. So the risk, okay, as an immediate one, okay, for me it was maybe just an X amount dollar for them, but the risk was they would have got my account details and everything, they would have emptied. And it has happened not only, luckily I got saved, but it has happened with the industry people as well. The people who are in the industry and who are good, sometimes they also get lured to this. So because of the AI, that things have really got to the next level. I was giving an example of xyz.com domain. And this was something recently, last week or a couple of weeks back, I came across. There was again in the cybersecurity. If you are following some of the right groups, you will learn, you will edge, based on the sharing. So there, I saw this an example of a website of a bank. Same, the URL is same. It's not gone are those days when the spelling was different, like in a sense, it's like instead of relying, like what you saw, it was relying or in my image. In this case, the relying is also the same. The spelling is same. But how the attackers are playing, they're playing with the format, or they are playing with the encoded, the Y in the real website is different, or maybe the character in the defaced website. To a human eye, it will be the same. But how it goes to the server, when it goes to the server, how that particular Y get decodes is different. So that's how the level of the attacks have grown. Okay. Now, another example of, the for misuse or abuse is, if I give an example from a life, a life household, day to day, daily course again. I always relate cybersecurity to the real life. It's better so that when you relate things to your real to your day to day activity, it will be more easy for you to learn and overcome all those, the queries and questions as well. Okay, by misuse or abuse, take an example of knife in the kitchen. If you give a knife to a chef, he will use properly. But if you give the same knife to someone else, he will use for some mischievous activity and all. That's what the AI is, and the risk of the AI is. All right. Now, quickly jumping upon evaluation of cyber threat. So yes, it has increased, and so the responsibility of defenders, and so the responsibility of the fox. So the sophistication of attack, which as I was already giving an examination, has gone high time. Diversification of attacks, because initially it was just the phones, laptops. Now because of IoT and all interconnected world, right? The cars which are coming, with IoTs and all. These are all interlinked, interconnected smart devices. And then the last one is emerging threats. By Give me one sec. So what I mean by the emerging threat vector means the threat vector is not only, let's say if you have aircon, if you're using, IoT in your house, so those are, the threat avenues for the threat actors. So it's no more just the iPhone, it's no more just on it's no more just on the devices, like the computer devices. It could be anything which is connected to the web, which could be, attacked, and the attacker can go and, do the little movement and can, compromise even your home. Again, what I mean by diversification, we thought that okay, the attacks only happens, on the organization level. Not necessarily. There are different kind of attacks. Some will be on the espionage, right? The organization or the groups which runs, on the organization bit, but it could be on the individual basis as well. The one I gave you an example, it was very common in India for some of my colleagues as well. They were like lured for the same thing, that they received and call, or they received the message because they came back to India when they were traveling overseas, and immediately, a fake call, or not even a fake call. It was a fake call, but it was so genuine that it's coming from, what do you call that? Mm, the one who basically check your visas and all in the airport. Sorry, I'm missing that word. Mm,
Customs.
Correct. Yeah, thanks for yeah. The customs. It's coming from a custom. Hey, we got to know that recently. They have all your details, and it happened with me as well. In spite of here, and it's very common here in Southeast Asia, and some of we know some of the people who, or groups who are actively doing it is in the Southeast Asia as well. Yeah. So they and these are all good experienced cyber folks who are lured into those, and they even transfer. Okay. Now, coming on the type of AI attacks, adversarial machine learning, deepfake attack, and the AI-driven, the social and engineering attacks. So on that, I'm not sure whether you're aware of this. I put, intentionally the image, if you see on the right side, is our ex-PM, our senior minister Lee. And this was a deepfake attack, right? And what in a deepfake, that it was a video like, propagating about, some investment. And then there was immediate, because when the ministry and when their intelligence got to know there is some video going on exactly same to same, then there was, the immediately video. So that's how the AI has gone into. So it's a boon. It's definitely a pain as well, right? So it may happen your colleague and your managers. Okay, now there are most common attacks are happening. If you know about some attack vectors, the Scotty spiders and all, right? Same technique. They are using the personal touch, and then they will try to infiltrate and exfiltrate your let's say crucial your crown jewels. So it's not only about the organization data and all. It's an individual data as well. Your bank accounts, your all personal info. Okay. Now, the one I wanted to which I kept on is this was basically the statement which was shared, on the World Economic Forum. The CEO of Code.org said, dot org said that people are okay, I won't read one by one this line. People are aware of an AI, but people, what people should be, aware of, or let's say should be cautious is about the people who would be using this AI. So which I mean by that is if you're not using AI, so you should actually, start using it, right? In a good one, in a good form, because the future is already happening, and it's happening in. And I can give an example, particularly. Okay. Before I give an example and before I drop the bomb on the for today's one, any questions you guys had? And thanks for listening.
Yes, I do have a question, Piyush. See, you talked about AI in cybersecurity, but how about
Yep.
cybersecurity for AI or security for AI? Because I'm not
Mm-hmm.
worried on job losing or anything. I'm worried on, let's assume I'm using LLM and I
Mm-hmm.
train my LLM and my data should not go for a task. That is my worry as a customer I'm talking about, right? And how
Correct.
can I maintain my AI posture management, AI security posture management? I believe you are working in leading cybersecurity firm. You might be having some, I mean,
Yep.
product roadmap
So
around that.
thanks. Yes, thanks, Santosh, for bringing that. So you talked about the AI, the data, the data confidentiality and everything. That's how, if I share about, the organization as well, we are also using Gen AI, but from the Palo Alto perspective, we came up with a precision AI. The precision AI is specifically for the cybersecurity. We are leveraging these LLM models. But these are all, or, it's all in-house. So when you go and use public, so there is a risk because you are putting the data. Now it comes, as I mentioned, there is always a human factor will be involved. How we are using it, how intelligently you are using that data. So you can use, something called masking. You can remove that particular data, which would be, a confidential thing. But you want to understand, just like how does the masking work? You will mask the important data, you will read that data off. That's why you can use the public AI until or unless you are running your own LLM, you are all running your own models where the data is. But with that one is to train that particular engine, you need to have the data, right? So in the cybersecurity space, and to answer your question, Santosh, so we are creating our own, yeah, we have our own AI models, and we are having, because being a cybersecurity company, we had our own data. So we were using this. So we do use generative AI, but there is a sort of concept of broker is there. So that if he's, the broker will monitor everything. If anything, something confidential or something which should not be disclosed, it's like it's like there will be an interface between the Gen AI and the AI which we've been using, which will basically filter those out. Okay. Now coming in the AI in the CSPM, the cloud security posture management. Yes, now the cloud security posture, the data is already there. So now, which as a human, which you were doing in, you were using your intelligence to, to drive down, to, correlate, to narrate, what would have been. Now this intelligence, the AI, again, I'm sharing from our perspective, our organization perspective. How we do it differently is, as I mentioned, it's our own AI tool. We have this own data, and that's how it's this data may not be, getting, the CIA tried, right? Confidentiality, integrity, and availability is being taken care. Okay.
Okay, thanks, Pish. See, this is the one of the major reason as well. See, companies are not even ready to go on a public mode. They all doing in the intranet model because don't know how that data will flow. I mean, that is a again even we do have a certain products, but having said that, nobody has checked the I mean depth of that, right? That's where I
Yep.
mean most of the companies are basically only talk about buzzwords. They all talk all the life cycle, but having said that, they are I mean yet to come. The usage is yet to come, in my opinion, Piyush. I mean we are not
Yep.
utilizing in full fledged, but we are in the training mode. If you ask me.
Yep. Yep. So, but if you ask from the organization perspective, they have already created their own models and they are leveraging it. So the benefit, okay, that's why, it comes, who can achieve and who can succeed success, in this particular technology is who has those data, right? the key context is the data, because how your models or how your learning engine will understood if you do not have data. So that's now with the chat GPT, for example, the data is because it's it's a feedback. So what data we are giving, and based on that, you know, it's learning from there as well. So it's learning from, what you share, what you feedback. But in the organization, that is being taken care, at the internal, the internal level. By internal level means, because we are using our own models, we are using the own technology. So that's how it's been being used in the organization as of today, Santosh, and it's heavily being used. Okay.
Yeah,
Now,
agree.
last
Thank you,
thing which
Rajesh.
now I wanted to share was, you saw this entire. Am I sharing something? Let's see. Give me,
Screen is not
give me one
visible.
give me one sec. Okay, let me share this. Now you guys can see them, right? Okay. Now the power of AI. This all images, okay, which you saw in my this. As I mentioned, I shared about only this, but entire images, I didn't have to take any pain. It was everything was generated by AI for me. That's what the power of AI is. Okay. So if you ask for my cyber, AI has really helped us in day to day. Like I give a one personal experience as an example as well. We were like brainstorming internally something, and instead of waiting for the coder, so we were stuck in some certain error on the code. Our code was getting an error because we were using our internal AI, which is a precision AI. When we went internally and asked that AI code, it gave me the solution, because that the engineer, the engineer who was like, who know that particular coding very well, was went away for a lunch. But by the time he get back to me, we already had the solution. That's what the power of AI is, right? So again, it's a boon and it's a bane both. Now for the people who are interested and who want to learn more about this, I do have certain, let me see if I can share you. So we do have something called Cyberpedia here on the Palo Alto network sites, which you can go and also learn about. Hey, if you want to know what is the precision AI and anything on the side, this is whole soul about the cybersecurity. Okay, you can go. It's freely available for every one of you. It's like an article. You can go and read about that. Not only this, for one book I will definitely recommend you if everyone has time. Let me share the link as well. I'm not sure if anyone on this group has read about this. The large language model LLMs in cybersecurity. How LLM can help you. Let me drop this one. Sorry, it's just sent to group. Let me see, where is meeting group chat? There you go. Okay. So yeah, so that's all from my side. Thank you and appreciate everyone's time today, and have a lovely weekend.
Thanks,
Any
Piyush.
questions?
Thanks for delivering such an insightful session on the prospects of AI in cybersecurity at OWASP. And we would like to look forward the possibility of working with you again in the future with respect to other cyber related topics, right? Thanks again for sharing your knowledge with us.
And thanks
Harsha,
to you guys. Thanks to the team.
Yeah, Piyush,
thanks everyone. Thanks for
thanks a lot.
joining,
It's
making
very
this event
informative.
successful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Bye, guys. Thanks for joining.